equanimity, free from attachment and hatred for those held close and distant. Cho đến khi đạt đến giác ngộ, đệ tử xin quy y Tam Bảo, Phật, Pháp và Tăng, nương nhờ công đức hạnh bố thí ba la mật và các ba la mật khác, đệ tử xin nguyện đạt đến giác ngộ để cứu độ mọi chúng sinh. Xin nguyện cho mọi chúng sinh an lành và tạo nhân để được an vui. Xin nguyện cho mọi chúng sinh giải thoát khỏi khổ đau và tiêu trừ các nhân tạo khổ đau. Xin nguyện cho mọi chúng sinh không lìa an vui, tức là không phải chịu khổ đau. Xin nguyện cho mọi chúng sinh an trụ trong hạnh xả, không chấp thủ và sân hận đối với những chúng sinh chấp thủ xa gần. Sangye cho tăng cho kê cho nam la chang cho ba du na ni kya so che đại ghê chinh en chi về so nam ghê đô la bên chơ sang ghê tru ba so Sâm chen tam chen dewa tăng dewe chu tăng nhân ba chu che Sâm chen tam chen du nghêu chi chu tăng dewa chu che Sâm chen tam chen du nghêu bê bê dewa tăng mi dewa chu che Sâm chen tam chen ni ren cha tăng ni
Okay, page 43, mandala offering, long mandala offering. Okay, they have an extra page that you need to put in the page 46, and you have to skip the kebar, and you skip this whole thing. And the beginning, you have to recite the one ajaluk. Okay, beginning. Shengam Beva Isho Ben Bume Lam Jodo Daminyan Dan Daminyan Geda Rimboche Rewa Pasam Gishin De Chepa Mame Paye Loto Kolo Rimboche Nugo Rimboche Jemo Rimboche Lambo Rimboche Lambo Rinpoche, Tajo Rinpoche, Mame Rinpoche, Tenche Pomba, Gema Chewama Loma, Karma Mendoma, Dupema Nasema, Tijama Mandawa, Rinpoche, Namba Geve Gen Solada Mi Penjo Matsa Mewa Sanshi Teda Chinchen Tsawa Tangyuba Cheve Panden Lama Tamba Namdan Kewa Toya Yongi Geve Shingen Chembo Rimbo Chen Shemane Tegba Chimbe Sunju Samo Shuvi Yendo Chingam Biwa Ke Tujin Drove Tendo Sheso Shenen Daso Manjo Nami Tadanya Semjen Tamje La Tutsewa Chimbe Goni Sishin Chodan Tumonge Ngudru Malewa Zedu Sai Shimbe Ye Chonje Medo Rarali Sanje Jende Mede Bewaye Dogen Nandashila Sangye Jende Medembe Waye Dogen Nandashila Chevaisho Idam Gururan Mandala
Oh, yeah. Oh, they are going to look at some letter. Can she send the regent ever, Sarah? Yo, can she somewhere? So, yeah, no church you was it. They say no, she Yachala, Niboya, Rambushing, Sachim, Shuchi, but it. Delia Taram today, you was it, there's over Sachim, Shuchi, the Rindachimurda, Riba Conchim, Shuchi, but it. And in a Koran Jobuche, so I pay Jobuche, Kalakabuche, and Geshe. In a Kundu Jedi. Rumbuche Sachim Bushabit in Maha Washe, and a cooking loose at our Tokba loose and the Tindeshe, Yadena Sigura, and a Pepangburova. Michilia Rumbuche, Sachim Bushabit, Nature Shiviche, Oncham Bushabit, Illustrata Tindepe, Sachim Bushe. In a Kote Hako Yamara, Yabu in Bahama Washe, the Koran Jobushadad saw. In a Tiko, Nature. Tokba loose, Kenny loose of Tindeta, Juba Juice of Tindeshe. Shasha de Chere. Each and a Pambushara Wasera, the Pambura, or Jitana Pambusura. Can she send the Ranjit Table in Yanju? Chakbar give a tejas. Yanju says Juba Juice of Tinde, can you lose a Tindelia Shasha Tindes, Hamagoche? The Pambura Sera. Tele Jansura, Maranzu Milutone, Churchuvala, Dalwa, Comba, Roa. And it's your mambo, yes, only dead waiting to remember that in Kuga was told you this era. In a social message, the Sachimbu in Bahamago. Chima Penji, Donda Love Chimbu, gave Chimbu to your Masha. Said it, and that Tenji Talba, said the message or it on that house. Geshe-ma to Kage Peshichema to Nasigora. In the Teleja Pamba is ora. Against Rambuchi Sachimbu, Nujeti. Rindanchimbu in Bahama, which a Koran Joboche, so I met any Pamburuade, Delegani Pangares ora. And she sent her in Jitable and you Chabarkiba, Delegans, Delegans ora. And she Miruki and Tibata Gibat and Shirabla. Milike, any message Chambada, Zawa, Kondunga, Trado Mebashe, Messiabuchi, Kiranki, Shanki, Shalet Sawa Mebashe, Abuchi Majibashe. Oh, Metti Tanda Shimbuchima Pejel, the Tended the Nigel Pemba, Tended the Pus Pemba, to you the Martian Bashet. When it's a Tibudasa, Condronga, Trado, and Dance, and it does miss a Sochuina, Dilly Yapambure, Songora. Oh, yeah, teach on.
So, as the Venerable Nagarjuna has stated, so he uses an example in this verse saying that a being who has like a beautifully decorated golden vessel, like imagine they have this vase that's made out of gold, and it's decorated with all kinds of expensive ornaments and so forth. But this person, although they're poor, although they're really in need of funds, they don't have much. They don't recognize what they have. They don't see that they have this object that's quite valuable, and instead use it as like a trash can or something to just vomit into. And so they don't recognize the valuable thing that they have, and so they just use it for like dirty things. Basically, what a great loss that would be if they were to use, like as this verse says, a beautiful golden vessel, a decorated golden vessel, in order to vomit into. That would be quite stupid. We would see that and be like, what are you doing? You could use this vase, this expensive thing, to get yourself out of the poverty you're in. But even stupider than that is a being who has been born with all of the kind of freedoms and opportunities to practice the Dharma, but not recognizing their kind of situation. They just use their life to sustain themselves. They give in to their various afflictions like anger, attachment, jealousy, and pride, and so forth. And they don't think about the kind of beyond this life. They could be using this opportunity in order to generate the causes for good in this life and in future lives, if they were to abandon harm and develop love and compassion and so forth. But instead of that, if someone is to use this human life to just do non-virtuous actions, instead use this precious thing for something so sort of base or vile, this is something that is even more sort of a loss than someone who has a precious vessel but doesn't recognize it.
Dewa da pemba tuye ki kukab yobate, tunge da roa, me pemba neba rangsha neba che mese ke sondro chi chawi na, epe pambu re songo ra. Indi za ko sanje ke songo doa, sanje jikden kang lo chenpa te, sanje te jikden kang lo peya te, simje nam mi chiso to su tebu yongye tondal, sende le dewa yongye tondal ye songo doa. Sanje nam ne yongwa te ye se ra. Chö sungye de kares no o de chiso debo yongya tanda, mi sama kibu yongya, mi si yabu chikya tanda yin sura. Chö tenpa ya dewa yins. Ni de chö tenpa na shi, che kunzu soso lakle le taba yina, ni tumbu chi de yore se, chik chi le tsawa chik ma res. Tumba dewa de yese ra, chö shebal tene, shen le mi tumba che, gyagre gyab tanda meba kondu che nga je se tato chi tene, tanda yomaro nebe kyure deora, sentile rang tebo me, shen tebo me, yawa chima rang tunge kyure deora. Nanje namne jongha te, chu tenpa ya dewa. Timba dewa te, chu tenpa le tene, mi chiso de chamba danyi chi sewa, penchu timbu che ne dewa, nang mi timbu che ne na, nang mi timbu dewa yungura. Sokpa chi ina da, lungpa chi ina da, chulu chi ina kari ina ko, timbu chi tena sura, timba dewa te esi. Sanjani zhuwa chidemba da kiri timba do. Timba namji kaduk te shara. Timbu uchi dewa na susu lega, kale kiamni lega chaya do kari na, chu shingi chi na chu chuwe da, tesu kanga da tanda yabu duktu kuri shara. O ti indi za ngara zu chu chu si du za, si dili rang shen, dewa kuli dunga chako gyara. Chu chigi yo na. Ni jawa chima pencha le do ko namin drebu ti, maungbali yo gyara. O ti indi ko kar sura. Ambitious de ko Homar Dewa, Tambunine Dewa, da Pembasido. 지소 미망보라 펜바다 대외시도 최송고 있어라. 미망보 대화다 펜베치. 대화시도 천텔이야. 대화 되기 전에 용해매버치 대지시려. 펜바스도 좋아치마 풀라 펜바. 내가 대화시라. 내가 천텔의 대화 부수 펜바. 근데 저도 최송고라. 인도 나라도 최초베네 메치데 인데 줄은 로바시 고요라. 내가 브랑시에 간가 대보 용해 되기 용해 줄은 줘야지. 잠바다 저 같은 데서라. 부수니 소소다 현상마 남미진 대부 팬도 요거 데시 요아차고 그래 송고도 야.
So here, the meaning of this verse, again, someone who is born as a human, but instead uses this kind of rebirth just to create the causes of suffering for themselves and others by getting angry and prideful, competitive, jealous, and so forth. They are really destroying their happiness now and in the future. And so what they're doing is not beneficial in any way. It's actually quite a loss. It's quite harmful. The Buddha came into the world in order to bring about happiness. The Buddha came in order to teach the Dharma for the purpose of happiness. The Dharma, if we practice the Dharma properly, it's something that brings happiness in the short term and benefit in the long term. By teaching the Dharma, the Buddha was teaching us to live in harmony. When we don't live in harmony, when we are sort of driven by our afflictions and have divisions among one another and have strife between, whether it's within a family or within a community, that creates the causes. I mean, we're miserable in the present, but also we're creating the causes to be born in the lower realms. And so the Buddha taught the Dharma for happiness now and benefit in the future. He taught us to live in harmony in the present. We need to have, whether it is our family or society, our country, our area, whatever it is, we need to live in harmony. By practicing the Dharma, living in harmony in this way, we can accomplish whatever it is that we strive to accomplish, and it will bring about the benefit in terms of future lives, but also happiness now. So here, the Buddha's whole purpose in coming and teaching the Dharma was in order to give the methods, the means that will be beneficial both in the short term, the sort of temporary in this life, and long term. So doing the Dharma means creating the causes for our happiness now, the kind of happiness and harmony with others in the present, as well as the benefit that will come in future lives.
Nên khi chúng ta sống với cái lòng từ bi, cái niềm an lạc, hạnh phúc để làm lợi ích cho người khác, không tổn hại tới ai, đó là mình và người cả hai đều được sống trong cái sự an lạc và hòa bình.
어디 가서라. 어디 단다 송분한 시로와. 산제동 공부를 쫓아서 대송도와. 어디 가서라. 기바테네 기바테네 체럽을 발라서. 름베 나네 름보 초도 기바테에서 텔레 름바맹게 텔레 꾸바맹게 뭐 진짜 꾸고 차도 그래서 거라. 소소리아 대화투에 꾸가하고 싶어지 중앙에 그거에 배주 맞아서 동해용의 천딜랑 셈미지 지마 저치마 라를 동해용의 대전이 텔레를 먹게 말아. 어떻게 되고 교화투가 그 대과 방제 교화투를 교화투는 천딜이야. 라기 셴기 교화치마 남이지 대비용 그래서 대동해 가서 내가 봐서 되네. 천딜랑 셈미지 교화치마 라리아 예송기 통해서 소관용 그래서 어디 아주 진짜 많이 오지 수수면서 토바데 연단 냄바시 샹라 차와방 만돌라미 고반 주게 주주 좋아 아니 니리 착당을 소방아 삼 수수장자모도 삼주매가 가게 공도 좌도 진짜 매매시 너무 강인의 총종체는 타르바 토베 졸려두라 좋아 이때 라치부자 많이 봤음제 간데지 토나야 잠바다 제외 셈지 따고라 미게 셈제 따나야 다시 잠배 수지 따수도 당하라도 뒤때도 가셔야고도 가셔 공부럽세 랑간도 뒤버세게세게 두라 오늘 전에 간가 잠바 대화던 데나 동해도 트레나사 Sambaya Buchi Sosimune Samlutanji Chini Mikanga Tuna Kiawasaya Yora. Kindechi Tazi Tuari Tutanduri Tusna Tatando Kotindri Tambich Tajar Contra. Ukakage Marasam, Tangazudene, Church of Yabuchi, Kugabi, the Marachi, Marisam, Sam Kokura. Dosho Tisho, someone Titus and Yondi Legura. He manning as the summer than church use of so the Molam the Jan, to this and Nambichi Bachigani, Kawake Majora. Kawake Majora, the Chiso now do the church the Legura. Meeting Yamdo Tetusa, it's a shade is a Nakon, a catch shade Legura, Luki Cholam Legura. Semikulu Tandache. Dosho Tisho Chene, Semja Namjuka to come to the Gura, Namja Tewada Teveku, the Dana Chimaru, Dembachuchi, Mahobon and Dembachetu Ashosera. Namja Tunga, the Tunga, the Tena Kandasa, in the Singachi Chimaru, Tunga, the Tower Chuchis, Mahobon, and the Conjutan Chetu Basho, some Sarasera. And the Tawa top sangage in the all call it Tawa Yamutops as Trado Majoche. Diga call Yabudu, some could Tawa de Madrenasa. Tawa de Toa. Tungi maybe Tawa da Mindra Chuchisuda. Tandakanga may have a call your prisons of Bandua. Diga state the Madre, Shako Tanda prisons of Bache. Yeah, Yoma show some Tangara. Which in Yiri Chadangazu Konjun Namuni Orwa. Miri Gichone, Social Lumbecha and Anzu da Kondusche. Chora, which is so such a Capti Chasarchi. In the man at Chimarosa, Meva Churches, Mahon, at the Congo, Meva Sotum Gangi, Niva Yungish, Likia shows, a chit of a show, some the China. Church, Rosette, Shokanga, Legura. Chiso now do the catch shit that did Legura. You depend on your item, Sheshegura, Lapchikavera. Here I did some little stretch over some little. You can draw some Nation Tashes and then Mashura. Nazutin Chagda. Simja Tamja, the Simja Tamja Sarachur mother. She did you the Jagre, the Trado, and Jansim, Shishi, and Tamja Kayara. Zambuli Shandala and Yomara. Tamja said to an Susan Mini and Gotsu. In it, Yahatsuni, Tamja's catcher, church, Tangodoa. Chambada Sawatas come the Namini comes to the Tambo. You reach out and the Namini come the Lela Richora. The catcher, Richard Sowal, Dengam, Tengalia, engage internet. Niparuzilia, Stevadola Tunga Mendeba Simja Yimba Zambia, some Kora Koyura Chizokora. In the Tamjel and Migwa said the Yungura. Oh, yeah, in this some Danchera. In it, Messi to turn that Demba Chindichigos and Kibuchungu that drink the Chimbi Lamla Lo Charge. This Simja Tamja turned to a Chigos to a short stage doing it under the Julia Turbache Sampache, Junjuni Sumbera. I made a Tombanilla Soba, Chambada Sawala Soba. Tabda Shiram Yasumbatele, Turbache Sampache Yamlichi, some Techido, Chunyagi, some Kuno set on the December shoes. Oh, yeah, I do.
So here, as it was said by Nagarjuna and the Buddha, to waste the kind of opportunity that we have in this precious rebirth, this is really more stupid than stupid. There's nothing that could be stupider than this, than wasting this kind of beneficial opportunity that we have in this life by just doing non-virtuous actions and thereby creating suffering and strife both in the present as well as in the future. So we should strive instead to create the causes for happiness in the present and benefit in the future, using the kind of life that we have right now and making it meaningful in the various different ways. Beginning with abandoning harming other sentient beings, trying to keep to a kind of moral ethics wherein we don't harm others, but try to benefit them as much as we can in order to ensure that we're not reborn in a lower rebirth. And then going beyond that, we recognize the sort of defects of our various afflictions, our attachment and our anger and our hatred and so forth, and seeing the defects of those and striving to reduce and overcome them. That will then become the cause of liberation by having that kind of goal and striving toward that. And then seeing that all sentient beings are likewise in this kind of situation, we should try to develop the attitude that sees all sentient beings with love and compassion. And this really involves expanding our minds out. I mean, it's easy for us to say when we're like reciting prayers, oh, may all sentient beings be happy, may all sentient beings be free from suffering. But then when we go out and are actually interacting with beings, we get angry at them and we have hatred and attachment and jealousy and so forth. And so here we should recognize that the real practice of Dharma is not just sort of saying prayers and when we go to the temple or sit on our cushion, but rather the Dharma should be something that informs all of our interactions when we go out and are interacting with others in society, when we speak to others, when we act toward them. It should be infused with that attitude that we are saying in our prayers, like, may all sentient beings have happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering. So then when we see someone who, say, has excellent things and is doing very well, instead of feeling any kind of jealousy, we should be rejoicing for them. This is what we are saying in our prayers. And when we see a being suffering, even if it's someone that we don't like, we should feel, may they be freed from that suffering. So we shouldn't be sort of just saying these things, but actually trying to transform our mind and carry that into our actions in daily life. So most of the time we see how bias, like being having a feeling towards your side and another side, is so detrimental. And when we see that, we should really have that genuine sense of equanimity. May all sentient beings feel sort of this equal sense toward one another without the kind of bias that informs them. And so here we should, in this way, really not just be saying all sentient beings when we are sitting on our cushion, but actually include all sentient beings in that. It begins with having a kind of love and compassion toward our own family, demonstrating that kindness and so forth, and extending out until we have love and compassion for all sentient beings and really are able to genuinely have that kind of attitude inform the way that we interact with others. And so with that kind of attitude, thinking that we are studying the Dharma in order to develop our mind with these different levels of motivation, the best of these being this bodhicitta kind of attitude. And for the purpose of being able to attain that state of Buddhahood, to really be able to benefit all sentient beings, I am going to listen to these teachings from the Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, dealing with selflessness, but here trying to develop within myself the kind of love and compassion and so forth. We should set such a motivation for listening to these teachings.